What is going on, everybody? Chris Ballard here, Ballard Sports Media, coming at you with my Crimson Tide podcast, as I call it, the Tidecast podcast. Have not done an episode of this in a while, and this is episode 6. We got a lot to catch up on. I honestly have not done one of these since that Kentucky game. I think was the last time I did one. I don't know if it was, I don't remember if it was to preview it or if it was after the game, but we have a lot to catch up on. Oh, here we go. I'm looking at it right here. It was Iron Bowl week, so it's been about a month or so. So it hasn't been a super long time, but the last I did one was to recap Bama, Kentucky, to look at the Iron Bowl, and we talked a little bit about some basketball with Nate Oates being in his second year. And so, but here we are. We got quite a bit to look at. I'm gonna look at, where have we been? Right, where have we been? As far as Alabama, well, their last game was against Notre Dame. They won 31-14 in the Rose Bowl semifinal. Moved from Pasadena to Arlington due to COVID cases. Welcome to California, though. So, but Alabama is here. They are back, and they are in the national championship, playing for the title against Ohio State. It's number 1 Alabama against number 3 Ohio State. Ohio State is 7-0. Bama is 12-0. And I already did a preview video for this game, so I'm not gonna break it down again or anything. But it's, I want to talk about what's at stake, though. I did a preview video for this. We talked about the spread. It hasn't moved. It's 8 points. It's Bama by 8. Bama has a 62.5% chance to win. Over under is 75. And you look at the past few games. Let's look at it. I haven't done one since the week of the Iron Bowl. Bama won the Iron Bowl 42-13. Then they did end up rescheduling LSU. 55-17 dominant win on the road in Baton Rouge. Then they went on the road to play Arkansas. 52-3 win. Then Florida. This was fun to see. Not if you are into seeing Bama have dominant defense. But they ended up winning the SEC 52-46 in the final seconds of that game against Florida on December 19th. Kyle Trask. It basically came down to Kyle Trask could not get to the line and hurry up to, snap the ball or get a play off, and, they didn't have any timeouts. And then, of course, we just had last Friday. I'm recording this on January 7th, which is, it's been 2 years since the Tide last made the championship. But how did they get to the championship? Well, how did Ohio State get there? Both these teams are undefeated. And I'm not going to try to preview this or anything or make any more predictions. If you want to know who I picked and why or whatever, fine. I picked Bama. I picked them to win. Ohio State 7-0. Bama 12-0. Bama won the Rose Bowl 31-14 over Notre Dame. And Ohio State won the Sugar Bowl 49-28 over Clemson. Right? But anyway, I'm going to try to do more of these podcasts for the Tidecast podcast more. It's been a month, month and a half, however long. We've missed a few games to recap. Even though I have made a few videos here or there, I've given my thoughts, I've said some stuff here or there about the games that we've seen. But anyway, looking at this matchup, what's at stake here for Alabama? History could be made. First off, congratulations. Shout out again to Devonta Smith for winning the Heisman Trophy. Well deserved. It came down to him, Jones, Trevor Lawrence, and I think Justin Fields. He deserved this Heisman. He's the first to win it since, I guess, for the Crimson Tide, since Derrick Henry, the running back, in 2015. He's the fourth wide receiver to win the award. And, yeah, so look at Devonta Smith, man. This came out of nowhere for him, I think. Now, he came back for a reason. He didn't want to win a Heisman. I mean, who doesn't want to win? Everyone wants the Heisman Trophy, right? The Heisman Trophy is like the thing that says you are the greatest in college football. That's what that title is. To win that award is that's like a national championship for an individual player. You know what I mean? Like that's what the Heisman Trophy is to a player, right? Like that's an individual championship right there to win the Heisman. So shout out to Devonta Smith for winning that. And I've been saying it all along, I've been saying it all year, that this year's Bama team is the greatest Bama team, at least in the Saban era, that I think we've seen in a long time. And that's saying a lot, because he's had the 2009 team. He had 2017. I mean, I don't want to say 2017 was a great team. It was a good season as far as the fact, like, they had quite a few injuries that held them back, and they found a way to win the championship. Of course, that's when Tua made his debut and everything. Devonta Smith got the game winner. Right? We understand all that. So, I mean, congrats to Devonta Smith winning the Heisman Trophy. Now, let's just go ahead and look at this game. I mean, this is going to be a great championship, I think. This is going to be huge. And I guess, fine, I'll mention it. Right? I'll mention 51-44 is my score prediction for the national championship. 51-44, Bama wins, right? And you could sit there and say, oh, you're going to downgrade Bama's defense or whatever. No, I feel like there's something about Fields that what he did about, like what he did in that game against Clemson, right? It wasn't, and Clemson's defense actually, they actually had one this year. I don't think they had a defense last year after losing all those guys like Dexter Lawrence and Christian Wilkins and everything like that. But he handled it well. What, he won 49-28? He put up 49 points on a really good Clemson defense. That's something. There's going to be scoring. Bama's not going to shut out Ohio State. They're not going to completely shut them down. And again, I did my preview video, 51-44 Bama in a shootout, down to the wire, right? It's either going to be a late stop or a game winner, or just ultimately in the end, they just start, by a touchdown, win this game. I don't know. So, it's going to be a great championship. This might be the best we've seen in the playoff era, and we've seen some good championship games. 44-16 when Clemson blew out Bama. First off, a shock to everybody. Not a great game. It was all one. I mean, it wasn't that great of a game. Altering game. Maybe said something like, okay, Dabo, you're serious. Right? 26-23. Tua comes off the bench. 2nd and 26. That was great. Ohio State in the first one against Oregon. You know, I mean, what makes a great championship game? Define that real quick. How do you make a championship game great? Is it down to the wire? Is it a comeback? Definitely not a blowout. That's not a championship. You don't want a blowout in a championship game. Now, Clemson blowing out Bama put them. Well, okay, I guess I would say maybe winning the first one they had with Watson kind of put them on the map or something, right? That kind of sparked the Tigers to build such a program that they are right now. But I don't know if I want to say that 44-16 game was more so for Clemson or said something more so about Trevor Lawrence, because, I mean, everyone started paying attention to him. We were already paying attention to Clemson. They were already there. You know what I mean? Like, they were already... But, like, you know, they weren't that great of a team to the point that they would blow out Alabama until they did it. Until they did it. I'll catch myself right there, people. Until they did it. So what makes a good championship game? I think it just needs to be competitive. It can't be one-sided. And it has to come down to the wire, doesn't it? Or it doesn't have to be like that, but like a good comeback. Like, Bama was down 13-0 against Georgia. They came back and won 26-23 in overtime. Right? Is it a comeback? Is it, just competitive where it's maybe a shootout? I think a shootout, down to the wire, just offenses are scoring and everything. A shootout like that, which is what I expected this year's championship game. I think if you want a good championship game, you better see some points on the scoreboard, right? You better see some good plays, some good playmakers, and it not be one-sided. It could be an overtime victory. It could be a last-second field goal. It could be one of those things where it's all defense wins championships and you see a late stop. Something that it leaves you in awe and shock and leaves you on the edge of your seat. You know what I'm saying? It leaves you on the edge of your seat. 51-44 Bama over Ohio State. That's my score prediction for this year's national championship. I think it's going to be a shootout. I really think that Justin Fields could be too much for the Crimson Tide defense. I'm not downgrading it. I just, something about what he did against Clemson with that hurt, like he bruised his rib, right? He was playing great. Then he took a hard hit by, I think it was James Skalski, the linebacker for Clemson. This dude's playing great. Lights out. Gets a hard hit to the ribs. Hard hit to the rib. Dude, he should have been on the bench. He stayed out there. He was so stubborn. No offense to him. But you gotta be real. He was kind of stubborn. He's like, no. I gotta go out there. I gotta play. We need this win. Right? We don't really... Be real. Does Ohio State really have anybody at the quarterback position outside of Fields that's could have competed with Clemson? Probably not. I don't know. As I'm recording this on January 7th, we're 4 days away from the championship game. if they put up 49 on Clemson, right, who honestly, based on this year, has actually had a good defense. They actually have. Not every game though, but it's better than Bama's defense. So if Bama's defense, now who knows what they're going to look like in this game? Look, they put up 49 on a really good Clemson defense, and has Clemson's defense been great every week? No, neither has Bama's. I don't think we've really seen a team that's had a great defense every single week. But I think they've been more consistent than Bama's defense, and I'm not trying to downgrade the Tide or anything. I hate to do so, but call it what it is. Bama's defense has had some games where they've struggled. And we have seen this defense become, like they quit at some points, right? They give up, they bend, and kind of break out. I don't know, right? And I think if there's any quarterback in the league right now that can put up such a fight against, and Bama's defense is still really, really good. They're gonna make some stops on fourth down in this game at some point. I just feel like it's not going to be enough to contain Fields. But at the same time, I don't think Ohio State has enough to keep up with Smitty, to keep up with Najee, to keep up with, maybe if he comes back, Waddle. Could Waddle return in this game? There are rumors circling, and we have seen a little bit of news about him walking around and being at practice or whatever. It's kind of all up in the air right now. I don't know, but could Waddle return? Maybe. Maybe not. We don't know. We'll just have to sit back, wait and see, I think. But I expect a shootout, people. I really do. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. And look, if that does happen, if it is a blowout, if it's not a shootout like I'm saying, you want to call me stupid, fine. But I mean, could you blame me? We're talking about Justin Fields here. These are the two best teams in the country this year, Ohio State and Alabama. I know Ohio State only played 6 games or whatever. I get that. But in those 6 games, they still looked really good. 52-12 over Michigan State. 22-10 in the Big Ten title game against Northwestern. Right? They did not play Michigan. Look at their offense. They scored 52, 38, 49, 42, 52, 22 in that order. So they're averaging... Oh, and 49 against Clemson. So they are averaging in the 40s or whatever. Right now, it's not a whole lot to really determine, but still, this is going to be a great matchup. Possibly down to the wire. Maybe if I'm wrong, maybe Bama blows them out. Maybe Ohio State has a game where they look like they should not have gone to that game. They should have stayed home. Maybe. We'll just have to wait and see, people. But this is going to be a great game. And again, I have Bama 51, Ohio State 44 in a shootout, right? I just think there's so many. I just think there's too many playmakers on the offensive side of the ball for both teams, right? Bama's got, again, potentially Waddle. You have Mechie. You have Smitty, who won the Heisman. Mac Jones. You got Najee Harris. Slay Bolden. Right? And then you got Justin Fields on Ohio State. Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave are great this year. Trey Sermon. the running back. Sermon's pretty good. Master Teague, I've heard quite a bit about. He's a good running back. They got a good rotation at running backs. Feed the ball to. If one's struggling, put the other one in. I don't know. I'm not doubting Bama's defense in this game. They'll make some stops. They'll make some good plays, but it's not so much doubting Bama's defense. It's giving credit where credit is due to the Ohio State Buckeyes offense. You just have to give them a lot of credit, and you can't downgrade that. I really think Fields and Ohio State are going to give their best game against Alabama's defense, and they're going to give them a run for their money. Right? It's the same thing for Alabama. Give them a run for their money. Right? I think that we want a shootout. We want a great game. And, you know, I think maybe that's what we're going to get. We're going to get a historic game, I think. So anyway, again, congrats to Devonta Smith for winning the Heisman, first receiver to do it in a long time. Bama's third Heisman winner, fourth wide receiver to ever win the award. Let's see here. There hasn't been a receiver to win it, it looks like, since Desmond Howard in 91. Right? And again, Bama hasn't had a player win it since 2015 with Derrick Henry. So it hasn't been too long for Bama. And it's 5 years or whatever. It's been a while since the 90s when Desmond Howard, a receiver, won it. And for Devonta Smith to win it, to be the third player at Bama to do it, and to be the first receiver to win the award since Desmond Howard is pretty great. And I don't want to hear this. Right? I heard all week long until the Heisman Trophy. I hear in the off season. I hear it from I hear it all the time. It's a quarterback award. I don't want to hear that. Joe Burrow last year. Kyler Murray in 2018, the year before. Baker Mayfield in 2017. Lamar Jackson in 2016. Oh, it's a quarterback award, right? You had, okay, let's look at the Bama era, right? Ever since 09. 09, Mark Ingram wins it, right? Running back there. Between Mark Ingram in 09 and Henry in 15, you had Cam Newton, Robert Griffin III, Johnny Manziel, Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota. 5 quarterbacks right there. All 5 of them quarterbacks. Right? Then, after Derrick Henry, you had Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow. 4 quarterbacks, right? You can sit there and say, oh, it's a quarterback award and quarterbacks get it. I really don't want to hear that. Now, yes, we could look at it and see how many quarterbacks have gotten the award, how many have consistently got the award, like 3 straight quarterbacks, 5 straight, whatever it might be. It can go to any player, right? Running backs get it. Wide receivers get it, right? It takes some time for a certain position group to get it, right? We've seen, I think, defensive backs get it, right? I'm looking right here. Leon Hart, Notre Dame, end. Right? Oh, that's a tight end. I'm sorry. But either way, there have been a few. It's not a quarterback award. It's not. Now, there's a majority of these that have been quarterbacks. Quarterback or running back, right? But it's not just for quarterbacks. I'll tell you that much. So, congrats to Devonta Smith on the Heisman. We look now to Ohio State and Alabama. 51-44, my final score prediction for this. I think it's going to be a great game, a close game, and down to the wire. I got Bama by a touchdown in a shootout game. And again, there will be some defense, but it's not going to be enough. Bama's going to score some points. Ohio State's going to score some points, right? You got to look at it like this. On one hand, Fields hasn't really faced a defense like Alabama's, but have they faced a quarterback like Fields? You can sit there and say, well, there's Kyle Trask. That's fair. Bo Nix, don't even bring him up. No offense to him, but come on. They haven't faced an offense like Ohio State all year long. But then again, at the same time, what am I to say? Bama hasn't faced an offense like... Bama hasn't faced an offense like Ohio State, and Ohio State hasn't faced a defense like Alabama's. That's how I look at it. I feel like Fields might be a bit too much for Bama to completely shut him down. But at the same time, Mac Jones and company, I'm telling you, will be a bit too much for the Ohio State defense. That's going to do it for today's episode, episode 6 of the Tidecast podcast. Congrats to Smitty for winning the Heisman. We got quite a bit to talk about in the next coming days as we get closer to Monday night with Bama and Ohio State. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Good luck to both teams in the championship. It should be a good one. And until next time, Bauer Sports Media is checking out. Have a good day. Roll Tide Roll. We'll see y'all later.